All right. Today, shut your bitch ass mouth. Isn't that what that person said about me?
SYBAU.
Yes.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Yes. And that is essentially what some family court judges are telling litigants in court.
Yeah. I mean, I think to people that haven't practiced and usually see court, by looking at the news and seeing the big higher profile cases would think that it's not out of the ordinary because big high profile cases, especially big high profile criminal cases, get gag orders. And there are very specific reasons for that, but it is something that is an extraordinary thing and is not a regular part of managing court cases.
Yeah, in my 4 years as a public defender, I don't recall ever seeing a gag order. And Bass Webb was litigated in our division. And if you remember Bass Webb, that was a horrific case. Are you familiar with it?
No.
You need to watch this video. He starts a riot allegedly in Eddyville, and they're shooting him with riot guns. What are those called? Those pouches?
The beanbag guns.
And
I
he
don't know
just
what they're
boom,
really
boom,
called. But yeah.
boom, boom. I mean, crazy. And he was convicted of one crime. He was incarcerated at our jail, Montgomery County Jail. And he, out of respect for her, there was a relationship that happened between him and a pretrial services person that was later murdered, unalived, horrifically. And that case was on. He used to have to come like in a mask and stuff like that. But I don't recall a gag order ever being in that. I don't recall a gag order.
But in the big cases where a lot of listeners may have seen them,
Brian Koberger.
yeah, generally there's one very specific reason for it, and you're protecting the jury. You're making sure the jury is not getting outside information, that things are not being leaked the way that a certain president likes to do while a case is going on, trying to stir it up and play that and push back on things, trying to control the dialogue about their case. The whole point of the gag orders in those high profile cases is so that, you can't have one attorney on one side of it throwing ideas out there that might get back to the jury to give reasonable doubt. You can't have litigants making speeches that are going to sway people one way or the other. And you want people making their mind up about the case based on what they've heard at the trial, not what they're hearing in social media or other things like that.
Now, Hugh Barrow, aren't you always the one on this podcast telling me, don't hate the player, hate the game?
Yeah.
If that's the game and it works.
No, I listen, I agree. I'm just saying that's the idea.
True.
About it. And it works both ways, right? If you are accused of crimes and the prosecution is going out there and leaking to anyone that could be on the jury these really horrific scenes and making statements that you did these things, and a jury is hearing that outside of the courtroom and not basing it on actually what's tried and put into evidence,
right,
then that person's not having a fair trial.
Absolutely. And so the point is to it's the constitutional provision to have a fair trial, impartial trial, right?
Yes.
Is weighed against your First Amendment right to free speech.
That's right.
That's the point of a gag order.
Yep.
I got a question from the back for the legal scholar. Are there jury trials in family court?
Not in Kentucky, although it's called for under the statutes. You can have jury trials. It's not prohibited, but it's not in our family court system is not really set up that way, but you could have theoretically. Now in other parts of the country, yeah, you have, so
in Texas, there's jury trials. Yeah,
you have them in Georgia, for instance.
Can you imagine a scenario though, where a gag order would ever be valid or appropriate where there's not a jury trial?
So not the gag order, like just a blanket, no communication about it. There have been plenty of cases where there's had to be some sort of a restraining order where spouse is going through a divorce, one party has a business and the other side is saying things to try to get contracts for that business canceled, saying things that are defamatory, saying things that are threatening, let's say, the marital estate, and like really threatening existentially, a business interest of the other side. But I don't think of those as gag orders any more than I think of that's a legitimate restraining order. You can show that immediate harm and it's very specifically tailored to prevent that harm.
And-
Gag orders, I think of those as more just blanket orders to not communicate in some way about a certain subject matter.
Yeah, and I think those restraining orders, those examples are perfect, but those are examples where an order is entered to prevent another cause of action, i.e. tortious interference with the business relationship or defamation, which are their own causes of action.
And they have very specific, our rules have very specific criteria that have to be met, and you're weighing the restriction of a right against the harm that could come, and you're meeting certain criteria. A gag order is...
Don't post about this on social media.
Yeah.
And so you can't, the point of not being able to post in social media about the Brian Kohberger case could be not to taint the jury, but in especially Louisville family court or Kentucky family courts, the trier of fact is going to be the judge.
Yes.
So judges, don't get on litigants' social media.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever heard a gag order being justified based on, I don't want to see anything bad about this on social media. When I'm looking at these people's social media things from the judges, I hear about it. A lot of times I hear it, you're related to kids or just...
Oh, there's that one that I posted where Elizabeth Jenkins is a parenting coordinator. She goes to court and is like, oh my gosh, judge, I'm quasi-judicial, and this litigant is posting negative things about me. She tells Christine Ward that. And Christine Ward says you can't do that. Did I not tell you?
No, I mean, but that was different, I think, than protecting the judge from seeing something negative about a party. I mean, negative that's put out there. I guess what I'm saying is the purpose of protecting the juror, the finders of fact, the jury, I've never seen them entered in family court for that purported purpose, to where it's like, I want to, a judge is entering this order because I want to protect myself from seeing something that might be prejudicial out there.
They're doing it to silence them.
Yeah, I've seen them for other reasons. I've never seen them used for the purpose that we see them legitimately used in jury trials of criminal or civil.
So do you think they're ever legitimate in family court? Like, hey, you shouldn't be able to post about your children on social media? It's a hard question. Again, that goes back to the I could see there's almost always a circumstance where it's like, okay, maybe. But just generally speaking, should judges be able to dictate whether or not you post your child or something pertaining to your child?
I think the distinction, again, a restraining order. There could be times where someone is doing something that is harming something, might get somebody fired, might get somebody kicked out, might endanger the child's ability to continue at a school where they are because of what they're saying and doing, where the judge will have to weigh a specific restriction against a specific right, and it's not some blanket, just don't talk about these things. I think
you're
those are very
entitled to a
different.
hearing before that happens, correct?
On a restraining order? Yeah, I mean, you're entitled to a hearing to lift it. So they can be entered ex parte without a hearing on a restraining order, but you get a hearing.
But not in perpetuity. So
not in perpetuity. No, you'll get a hearing before that can continue on, whereas a gag order generally is just going to be, they'll call it temporary, and it might go away at the end of the trial when the case is finally tried and over with. It might not. It might just continue on. The party still should not post anything on social media.
And it's so funny because, a lot of these family court judges are, in my opinion, so thin-skinned, and I don't know what made me just think of this, but there was, when I was in district court, this person posted on, I hope the judge has a flat tire on the way to court today. That way this person has to stay in jail longer. And we were all talking about it somehow in chambers with the prosecutor. It wasn't ex parte. Judge thought it was the funniest fucking thing he'd ever heard in his entire life, right? Because he didn't bring the woman in there and be like, how dare you?
Oh,
how dare you insult this honorable court by wishing I had a flat tire?
Oh, I've seen so many judges respond appropriately and laugh and be like,
on the bench currently?
That's not the mean. Yeah.
Who?
Oh, man.
I want to name names. You think Christine Ward is going to have a laughing response about someone posting about her on social media?
I'm trying to think if I've seen that in a case. I've had something where I buried someone based on their own posts, and they were saying nasty things about everyone. But I want to say that it was a case that was in front of her, and of course, they talk about their judge too on social media, and of course, I blow those things up and I bring them in because I want the judge to see the nasty things they're saying. I want to say that I have had one in front of her, and she made a comment about it sort of afterwards that was funny and showed like perspective about it and didn't get like hyperbolic about it, but she also didn't need to because he had said so many horrible things and admitted to beating the living crap out of the other side on multiple occasions that it was a no-brainer in how she had to decide about things. I've definitely
Good for
seen
her.
Judge Johnson in Division 1 deal with people saying things about her in some of the most hilarious ways and not be thin-skinned about it even a tiny bit.
Angela has a sense of humor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I don't ever want to take away. I think that some of the things, I don't agree with some of the things she does. I think there's certainly problematic things that happen in her courtroom, blah, 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 but she's got a sense of humor.
I think I've seen Judge Webb the same way, where someone has said something about it and he made a sort of a joke on the record and made it very clear that it wasn't going to affect anything and he didn't care and we were moving on, and someone brought up something that someone else posted and I just thought it was handled really well. It wasn't made a big deal out of, and we just moved on with the hearing, and I thought it was an excellent way to handle it. It was a really dumb thing that someone had posted online, but it was also pretty nasty toward both the judge and somebody else that was appointed, and he
Took it with a
handled
grain of
well.
salt.
Yeah, and just said he acknowledged it. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
sort
think-
of like, I know that you said that.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not entering an order because of it, but just like that didn't go unnoticed, by the way, that's your behavior. He sort of made it clear to the party, and then he went on.
Which is kind of a problem, though. But I guess I do think he does live in a glass house and knows not to throw stones, because can you imagine if his DMs were
Well, I don't think
released?
that's a problem because it was presented on the record as evidence.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can say, basically he was saying, okay, I get that this was said. I was kind of tangentially aware of it. We're not going to lose a ton of time arguing back and forth over this.
Yeah.
You presented it. I acknowledge it. Let's move on to some other evidence. But yeah, I'm not minimizing it, but I know that it happened. We've seen it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And I was all about that because it seemed like it was sidetracking everything in that case.
And I don't know that he really is one that I've never seen a gag order out of his courtroom. Have you?
No.
Yeah. And that's unfair. I don't think I've seen a gag order out of Angela Johnson's courtroom.
I don't think so either. I don't know that I've had anyone ask for anything that wasn't very narrowly tailored. And I think also I raised hell if anyone tried to get something
yeah.
that wasn't narrowly tailored. So I just didn't encounter it all that much.
It's probably the tale as old as time. It's happening more to pro se litigants and just people that can get away with anything.
Yeah, no, I agree. People that aren't going to challenge or raise their voice about it. Yeah, I agree.
And I think it's more of a thin-skinned judge type reaction, because they shouldn't care and it shouldn't affect them. If it's going to affect them as a public official and a judge, what you are saying, what I'm saying, what a litigant is saying, then they need a different career.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of times, I mean, the ones that I've seen have been about quit posting on social media. Don't talk about the divorce or this action on social media.
But why?
No, I've seen those. What I'm saying is I'm not justifying, and I'm seeing the ones that I've seen entered were not because anyone said anything about the court or the judge. So it wasn't a thin skin thing. It was for some reason that felt like we want to control people's ability to talk about a case in general. And I don't understand. Again, if there was a jury and parties are posting on social media about the case, I can understand the concern. If people are posting about going through their divorce and here's what's happening, they're not saying anything nasty about the court, so I don't think it's a thin skin thing. What is why can someone's First Amendment rights be abridged there without some really narrowly tailored interest that you're protecting?
You want my honest opinion? My radical, honest opinion?
Yeah, what is that?
I think that family courts operate in a form of coercive control, and they are the perpetrators of violence. And you will do what I say. I have ultimate control. It's a pattern. You know, when you go to their courts, that you lose your voice. They have the ability to take your kids. They can take their finances. They can issue orders. They can detain you. And I think that the system is designed to operate that way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Your terminology, coercive control, that's an interesting way of putting it. But I think it is to assert, okay, I'm the boss. I'm going to set the rules. We're going to establish how things are going to be handled while this litigation goes forward, which I can see as, philosophically, someone can look at it and go, okay, that makes sense. The judge is going to say we're going to all remain civil and we're going to do all of these things. But it's just never that simple. You're taking away someone's ability to do something. You're taking away someone's rights. You're taking away a voice.
But if judges had the ability to make people act, quote unquote, civilly, why don't they just get their fucking pen out and do a court order for world peace? No, I'm serious. I mean, why not? Like,
Well, again, though, I mean, if you can narrowly tailor it, if there are specific things that you were afraid of, like going on and you don't get to go on the group email for the school and to say nasty things about the other parent, because that's something that happened and might cause trouble with the kid's school. Like, if you're trying to stop some specific behavior that might harm the interests of the child or something like that, I see that's different. But when you're coming in and just having some blanket gag order about it as we're going to establish sort of some rules of the road while this litigation is going, I think those are two totally different things.
yeah, but I think it's also just like a goose or gander. I'm not going to say the name of the judge that did this, but the judge that sent out the big email about the CPS worker that pissed her off or whatever in her courtroom and was like, oh, if this person's ever in your courtroom, blah, 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 blah. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean,
That's different? How's that different? Tell me more how that's
there's not
different.
litigation going on. It's not involving a case. I mean, I think, yeah, there's a general rule that people should just shut up online and stop sending nasty emails in general. That it would probably be better, but that's
But you
two
can't do a
totally
court order.
it's totally different things. You're ordering. I don't know. That's just somebody being nasty in their personal life and their professional life, but it's not pertaining to specific litigation.
So we have no problem as a society with people being nasty in their day-to-day life as long as you're not getting a divorce. That's what family court is.
I'm not justifying it.
I
I'm
know
just
you're
saying that situation of a judge sending an email out about a caseworker is very different.
Is it?
If you're ordering people not to,
This caseworker is a lying liar who lies and don't listen to anything she says. And then you got a wife. My ex-husband is a lying liar that lies. I mean, it's still, it's
protected. You can say your opinion. I think people should be able to continue to say their opinion. Now, as an attorney, if I caught my client doing stupid stuff like that, I may not have hung around. You're hanging yourself when it comes to your case, and it should absolutely be used as evidence. And any good attorney is going to parade that around. Hey, judge, guess what this person said about you? But I don't see the justification for gag orders.
fabulous pivot. We get so much hate. I get most of it, but we recently got some. And it includes you. I haven't told you about this because mainly I just forgot.
Oh, you just want to get my reaction?
No, I don't. But did you know that we aren't doing anything whatsoever other than just talking? And if we really cared about people, we would take clients pro se.
Really?
Yeah. This is from an attorney, AA Law TikTok, who I invited on the podcast.
Let me guess. No response?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, really.
But
I love people that people feel safe behind their keyboards and, tearing other people down.
Right.
And then shut up real quick when you ask them to do something, do what they're actually talking about.
But the thing is, I don't believe in gag orders, generally speaking, in family court. Okay. But if I have a client and I'm representing that client, my advice to that client in their family court action is extraordinarily different than the problems that I'm explaining on this podcast. They are actually oftentimes diametrically opposed because my ethical obligation to my client is to get the best outcome for that individual client. The reason that I'm not taking cases pro se is because I believe it would be a conflict. Well, one, I can't work for free, obviously. But at the same time, it would be a conflict for me to put a litigant in that peril, because it would be peril. If you think if I walked into the TikTok judge's court representing a litigant and you think that litigant stands a snowball chance in hell, then you aren't paying attention.
Well, and my response is just because we don't sit here and talk about cases we may or may not be involved in or legal, practices in different parts of legal practice that we may or may not be involved in right now doesn't mean it's not happening.
That's true.
I mean, there's a lot of we have very full lives within the legal community, regardless of whether or not we are taking on these people. And I think I've pointed out on many, many podcasts things that I think are very problematic within the family court system that I took advantage of every chance I could as an attorney.
Yep.
Those things are very, very different.
Yes. And did you know that I'm wicked lazy, and you'll get a kick out of this? I could do so much more, like meet with legislators.
Really? Are you getting invited to those meetings and you're not going?
All right. I go to so many meetings. I've met with so many
Oh,
people.
you speak to so many groups that I couldn't do it. I
But
absolutely couldn't do it. You never you never stop.
well, I mean,
Like it's
sometimes, but
oh my gosh.
no. And I mean, we both work really hard. We're both very passionate about this, but we don't have to justify anything. But obviously, it's just some troll online, which again, come on our platform, tell us. I opened it up on TikTok. Any actively practicing litigator in the state of Kentucky, preferably the Commonwealth, but I said state of Kentucky, LOL. In the United States.
We would rather you be from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, not the state of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Please.
But any litigator, y'all are welcome to come on, right? Anytime.
Oh yeah, especially if you disagree with any points on here. Would love to have you on and have an honest discussion. Like
he's he chomps at the bits. Like he's like, please.
Much rather have that. You get so bored talking to people who agree with you. I want to have those intellectual discussions. Please come on. Tell me where I'm wrong.
And I don't know any litigator that doesn't think like we do, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the ones that reach out to us are in agreement, but it's the trolls online that would never come on. I would love to, there are people within the court system that disagree. They won't come on. There are people that are paid by the court system, get all their appointments. They like to say nasty things online. They won't come on. I would love for somebody to come on, state their point of view, defend what we, tell us where we're wrong, tell us what we get wrong. Don't write it in the nasty comments and hide behind a keyboard. Come on and talk about it.
Yeah. And it's not going to happen. But I mean, we welcome it. And of course, we'll be respectful. 100%.
You don't even have to be here. I mean, we got a remote set up.
Yeah.
I mean, almost everybody else externally, outside of the two of us that we've talked with, has been somewhere else in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I even told AA Law TikTok, I think I got enough points to fly in from California.
Oh, I'm not paying. I'm too stingy. I'm not paying anybody to come here, but I'll pay for some extra Zoom time so we can go beyond the 45 minutes on the free account.
Don't make me laugh. But gag orders, we had that case that kind of started, the Facebook group about one of the judges here in Louisville? Mm-hmm. The case that started that involved and y'all, this was years and years and years ago, so it probably was a GAL role. This person was operating more as an FOC, but I can't recall for sure, and I don't want to say. But there was one particular thing that happened that I think it's important to discuss, is this person appointed for the children said, because there was a local journalist that was actually writing about family court, said it wasn't in the children's best interest for the parents to talk to the media. How do you feel about that?
Said that in like a court pleading?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. That's fascinating. If I'm a GAL and my kids, let's just making assumptions. Let's say I'm representing hypothetically a kid who's going through it has to be a pretty nasty or high profile divorce for the media to be interested anyway. Nowadays, it would have to involve like 20 decapitations for the media to make a phone call about or to even follow up with anything about. But assuming it's got to be pretty bad, pretty nasty, I'm representing, if my child is fragile and is not enjoying the attention the case is getting and all of that stuff, I'd fight to protect my kid from the media getting further involved and becoming more of a circus. Media shows up. Those things, like they park outside the house, kid won't be able to go. I mean, I've seen that happen in high profile court cases where media just sits out on the street and nobody can go outside. I would not want that for my client.
But does the best interest standard trump the First Amendment? Never.
That's interesting.
And also,
I mean, I think, I think it absolutely can if you can show immediate harm if you can meet the standards under a restraining order, then yes.
The standard.
That's why we have.
Well, a restraining order is a higher standard.
Yeah.
It's not preponderance of the evidence.
I know, but it's still, but we get them all the time for other reasons, and it's balancing rights.
But the best interest standard, so if let's presume that you are making an order, it's in the best interest of the children that neither parent shall speak to the media.
That's all it is without additional finding for some immediate harm, no. I don't think you can do that.
And then also, I'm just curious,
because it is a restraining order.
But typically speaking, does any big expose come out? Does the court call and tell everybody, hey, this is what's happening behind the scenes? Does law enforcement say, hey, y'all, did you know we got some nefarious shit going on here? Or is it the media that breaks the story? I don't know. I'm being stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think,
The media breaks the story.
yeah, I mean, of course.
Back
But
when the media
I'm just trying to think.
existed.
I've had cases where we've had some litigation about who told the media about things. Oh God, I think it was TMC broke something, and it was just like
TMZ.
TMZ was breaking stuff, and it was like that had to have come from somewhere. But the litigation involved that. But even in that circumstance, we didn't end up with restraining orders or gag orders in that case. The judge handled it. I think I was not happy that we didn't get more out of it in that circumstance as a litigant, but looking at it from the outside, I think the judge made the right decision in that case.
Right, because the government doesn't get to essentially issue NDAs to prevent the public from knowing the truth.
No,
That's
no,
not
no.
the role of the government.
No, I agree. I think that because we have specific rules for restraining orders, I feel the same way I did about judges automatically entering those
Status quo.
status quo orders. That how is that different than any other restraining order? And if you can't tell me a reason why it's different, then you follow the rules for the restraining order. I think a gag order is the exact same.
But so this FOC or GAL said that speaking to the media was not in the children's best interest.
So the judge ordered that they can't speak?
I don't know what she ordered. It's all over the Facebook group. I mean, there's like 1,000 people. It's been active for years and years and years. But my question is, do you think we could find an FOC or a GAL that could say under oath that family court is in a child or children's best interest?
Oh, I would love to have a GAL or FOC come on the show. I really wish.
You ready to part with
one
some of your
would.
money?
No. No, I'm stingy. No. I know, yeah, absolutely I am, but I'd rather discuss it, not have it just thrown out here while we're live on the air.
LOL, I'm just kidding. But no, there's not going to be an FOC or GAL. I would love to have one that no longer does it. That's like,
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
I was appointed once. I didn't ask for it.
I did it.
You were a GAL for children?
Yep.
Yeah, really?
I was never on any court's docket. There was a time where I got two circumstances. One, I just got appointments out of certain divisions just sort of randomly, and they would be, I mean, it might be years apart, and I would just get one and I wouldn't object to it. I would do it. I think I like the states that make every attorney do some part of that role. It would I think more of warning order or representing people that are incarcerated as a GAL to make sure they're served. I think just sort of as a part of your license to practice and your privilege to practice law, you can do some of that stuff. I also think that takes it out of the hands of just like that small group that get every single one of those. But I got some of those. I also, attorneys asked me if I would handle it in certain cases. Attorneys that I've worked with before that thought that I would be a strong advocate for a child. And then we're talking about ones that represented the parents and thought that the court-appointed people would not do what the child really needed, and I would take some of those appointments. I almost always regretted it because it was hard to get paid, and they never seemed to end. But
I think in theory it makes sense, but I just think in practice it's become a small group of people that the judges are just making it rain for.
I will say I did FOC and GAL in those privately appointed cases where people asked me to, and the only reason I did the FOC ever was because I found it to be one of the best learning tools that I ever saw for my litigation practice to go on the stand and get questioned. I loved that aspect of it. See what it was like on the other side of the stand and know that I wasn't going to be called out for not knowing something or not investigating it well enough, and it made me work even harder on it.
I'm sure.
I loved that part, and I learned so much from it. So I took those sometimes just for that. I'm like, I probably won't ever get paid, but I'll get to get some cross-examination practice from the other side.
Law school probably needs a residency like med school. You probably need where in your third year.
Well, some do. Some have clinics where they actually are practicing.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking an actual residency program. Like law school should be 2 years and your third year should be a residency. And that is one thing how they keep lawyers trapped. And, I don't have a lot of sympathy. I do, actually. I act like sometimes I don't because I'm so frustrated with what's happening. But I'm in the same boat. But it's so hard to change professions. Like I can't just go to personal injury because I don't know it. But if in law school you did family, criminal, personal injury, and insurance defense, that would give us so much freedom to be like, because so many people burn out from family. It's the highest rate of burnout of any area of law.
Yeah, but I mean, what specific areas of practice did you learn in law school? Unless you took a specific elective looking for, they didn't. I mean,
That's my whole point.
yeah,
There
I
needs
mean,
to be a
they just.
residency.
I mean, you get to learn con law, to the extent that that's you learn crim law. You don't learn necessarily the practical parts of the of the litigation of crim law. You learn
Well, in my
real
school,
estate and
you didn't go
contracts.
here. You didn't
No.
go to, but in my school, you had to do so many practicums. So I like clerked for a judge. I worked for the Attorney General of Mass, and we all got different assignments. You know what they gave me? I've told you this before.
Really?
The manufactured housing, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
said was racial profiling because they thought I lived in a
Yeah,
trailer
I
park
remember that.
regulations.
I find that hilarious.
Oh, I was so mad because this accent, I survived Boston with this accent. You think some Louisville family court attorney scare me? It's like, get over yourself.
That's hilarious.
But we did all kinds of stuff. I think that's super important.
Trailer park law.
Yeah.
Christine Miller.
And admin law, I had an admin law question on the bar, and we didn't have admin law required at school. So I'd never taken it. So I had to memorize the Barbie, but my little manufactured housing internship really helped with admin law.
Oh, that's funny. I did I took that as an elective because it fit into my schedule. And lo and behold, I had a couple clients that had some either medical board or some kind of professional board stuff with this and some stuff with the state.
Yeah.
Also, what was it? Some state disability type stuff. And I was like, whoa, that actually came in really, really, really handy. In those few issues, I actually enjoyed practicing those because I had actually some knowledge about it. But I never took family law in law school. It was an elective. I never imagined I'd end up practicing it.
It was required for us.
Family was?
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting.
My favorite class in law school was tax law, which is so ironic.
Oh, that
And
was
con law. Our con law
tax
professor
was
was
the
a
worst for
brilliant
me.
man.
I waited until the last semester, waited until I knew exactly where I was going after law school, and the grade didn't matter. And I had to take the one that was an 8:30 class, and I was getting my master's, so I didn't finish class till 10 a.m. There was no way I was making it to 8:30 classes. And when I did, I didn't know what the guy was talking about. I was so done by the time I took tax.
I loved it.
Oh, my wife loved it. She became a tax attorney, so.
LOL. Maybe I should have done that. I digress. But anyway, so we are going to continue to try to save the world and get hateful comments online.
No, we're not going to try to save anything. We're just going to talk about it. We're just going to sit
LOL.
there and talk and do
How-
nothing.
what-
That's what we're going to do. Nothing.
What weak
Just talk about
sauce?
it. Yeah.
How weak is
sauce.
it to expose the problems no one else is willing to do?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I think I'm just not going to appear on camera anymore. I'm just going to sit behind my keyboard and troll people online. That's what I'm going to do. Change the world.
Welcome to America.
Yeehaw.
Bye.
See ya.
We need some justice. My life is fine, justice.
Content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be and should not be construed as legal advice. Engaging with this content does not create an attorney-client relationship between you and the hosts, guests, or their firms. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any law firm, company, or organization. We make no representations or warranties regarding the accuracy, completeness, or applicability of the information presented. Any reliance on the information in this podcast is at your own risk. Laws are constantly changing, and every situation is unique. You should always seek the advice of a qualified attorney for your specific legal concerns.